Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will cover on the last chapter for ITS 332, which is chapter 9, Managing System Support and Security. In general, system operation, support and security is the final phase in the system development lifecycle, where in this stage, you will support and maintain the system, handle the security issue, protect the integrity of the system including its data, and be alert to any sign of obsolescence or the system is getting old. These are the chapter objectives for this topic and also this objective. What is meant by managing system support and security? Managing system support and security involve three main concerns. The first one, we need to meet the user expectation, which means that the system can run smooth without no bugs or error. The second one is to meet the system performance. And the last one, to meet the security requirements. In most organizations, more than half of all the IT department effort goes into supporting the existing system, which means the activity including troubleshoot, support daily operation, and also maintaining the help desk activity. As we know that the system operation and support is the last stage in the system development life cycle. The system operation, support, and security phase begins when a system becomes operational and continue until the system reaches the end of its useful life. After delivering the system, the IT team focus on the support and also the maintenance tasks. For the user support, we need to provide the user training. Additionally, new employee must be trained to use all the company information system. The user training package including three categories. The first category is for the manager. The second training category is for the IT staff. And the third category is for the normal user, which is the content of the training for the manager usually involve a more general knowledge and technical aspect of the system compared to the training for the IT staff, which is more detailed and technical. And then for the normal user training, the training should focus on the daily routine day-to-day activity because these users are the person who will use the system frequently. Objective is to teach all the user how to use the system very well. Helpdesk is also one of the important component in the user support, where the function of the helpdesk is to interact, entertain, and communicate with all type of user. The helpdesk is a central contact point for all IT maintenance activity. So if the user counter any problem regarding the system, they can refer to the help desk. Under maintenance tasks, there are four types of maintenance, where the first one is corrective maintenance. Corrective maintenance high chance to happen immediate after the information system becoming live and during the operational phase, where here we need to diagnose and correct the error in an operational system. Worst case situation is a system failure where when the system is operational again or after the system is operational again, the maintenance teams determine the causes, analyze the problem, and design a permanent solution. One of the methods that we can implement to analyze the problem is using the 5 why analysis. 5 why is an iterative integrative technique that used to explore the cause and effect relationship underlying a particular problem. The primary goals of the technique is to determine the root cause. For example, in page number 10, the problem statement is about wrong item shipped to the customer. So the first why is the wrong item was pulled from the inventory. And the answer for the first why is because of the item we pulled from the inventory was mislabeled. And then what is the root cause for this question number 2? It is because of due to our supplier mislabel the item prior to the shipping it to our warehouse. Okay, so instead of we tackle the problem in the first why, okay, so by using the 5 why analysis, we will go more deeper to identify what is the real root cause of the problem. Okay, so if the first why is not the root cause, and then it will continue to the second root cause. And then if this is still not the root cause of the problem, then we will continue to the third why, the fourth why, until the last 5 why. Okay, so normally it will take a lot of effort and everyone in the team members need to spend their time because we need to identify the real root cause of the problem. So the advantages of the 5 why analysis, instead of we are tackling the surface level of problem, now we can detect what is the real root cause of the problem. The second type of maintenance task is adaptive maintenance, where adaptive maintenance add enhancements to an operational system and make the system more easier to use. It can be more difficult than the new system development because the enhancements must work within the constraint of the existing system. There are two types of adaptive maintenance. The first one is minor and the second one is major. This type of maintenance is not critical actually because the system still can work even without the addition enhancements. Third type of maintenance task, which is the perfective maintenance. This activity is optional. This activity involves changing an operational system to make it more efficient, reliable, and maintainable. Cost effective during the middle of the system operational life. The more program changes that we make, the more likely it is to become inefficient and difficult to maintain. The last type of maintenance task is the preventive maintenance, where it required analysis of the area where trouble is likely to occur. For example, System A sometimes facing a problem to copy all the files in the test machine directory. As an effect, the engineer sometimes need to check manually to ensure there is no file left behind in those directory. Due to this repeated incident frequently happen, from the analysis done by the IT department and the engineer need to check and revise and upgrade the coding that they use in the program before to make sure that all the file can be copied in the new coding that they will be implemented soon. Often result in increased user satisfaction, decrease the downtime. Sometimes this activity does not receive the high priority that it deserves, and some people or company think this activity is not very important. Slide number 14 is the summary of all the four types of maintenance tasks, which is the first one is the corrective maintenance that happen immediately after the implementation and also happen later in their operational life. And then followed by the additive maintenance, which is we have the minor enhancements and also major enhancements, followed by the perfective maintenance, and the last one is the preventive maintenance, where the process is happen early in the operational life and in the middle of the operational life. As we discussed before, preventive maintenance sometimes did not receive the high priority that it deserves, and even some companies think it is not so important. For a maintenance management, the system analyst need to establishing the priority, which is in many company system review committee need to separate the maintenance request from a new system development request, which means between the new system and the process to maintain the current system. The objective is to balance between the new system development and necessary maintenance work, which means that the system analysts need to choose to spend all of their team members to focus either if they want to develop a new system or they want to focus on to maintain the current system. Next, for the maintenance release, minor release is a release of a product that does not add a new features or content. Typically, intended to solve minor problem, for example, to fix the bugs or any security issue. A numbering pattern distinguishes the differences of the release service pack. Under the version control, within a given version number of category, for example, major and minor, this version control is essential part of a system documentation. For example, the first level is for the major changes, the second level is for the minor changes, and the third level is for the patch update. For example, if there is a new API changes or total system changes, so if the current system is using version number 4, it will soon will become version number 5. And if there is only minor changes to fix the bugs or any security issue, this is only involve the second level, which is the minor changes. And then if there is only a patch upgrade, then it's only effect to the third level. This version control is important for a system documentation. System performance management. Under the fault management, the more complex the system, the more difficult it can be to analyze the symptom and isolate a cause. The best strategy is to prevent the problems by monitoring the system performance and workload. In this page is the result of the performance monitoring from the free open source PHP MyAdmin, where in the picture we can see that how many total SQL is running per day, which is the receive and the send request. And then from the receive and the send request, we can see how many failed attempt, which is the process that has been failed. And then if we go deeper, we can see what is the most SQL used by the department or by one department. And then if we go more deeper, we can see what is the SQL that facing the problem. And then also we can see the time it takes to complete the request from the user. For the performance and workload measurement, under the benchmark testing, we can compare by using the metric, response times, which is seconds or minute, or by the bandwidth and throughput. For example, kbps kilobits per second, mbps megabits per second, gbps gigabits per second. The IT department often measure the response time, bandwidth and throughput to evaluate the system performance both before and after the changes are made to the system. System security and overview. Security is a vital part of every computer system, where we have a system security concept, also known as CIA triangle. C stands for confidentiality, I stands for integrity, A stands for availability. Absolute security is not a realistic goal. Under the risk management, there are three types of activity. The first one, for the risk identification, we need to identify what is the risk that might happen. And then, followed by the risk assessment. Furthermore, we need to do the analysis after we do the risk identification. And then after we get all the information, next we need to take action, which is this is under risk control. Attacker profile and attack. An attack might be launched by a disgruntled employee, or an attack also can become from a hacker who is 10,000 miles away. Attacker break into a system to cause a system damage, to steal the information, or to gain the recognition, and among other reasons. There are 6 security levels that discussed in the syllabus. The first one is physical security. The second one is the network security. The third level is the application security. The fourth category is the procedural security, followed by file security and also the user security. Physical security. This is the first level of security concern, which is focusing more on the physical environment, which is cover the physical access to a computer, represented an entity point into the system, and must be controlled and protected. For example, the server the desktop computer, and also the notebook computer. To secure the physical security, some of the technique that we can use, for example, is fingerprint scanner and also eye retina scanner. Next level of security is the network security. To secure the network, we must ensure that our Wi-Fi, LAN, MAN, WAN is protected. And then we must protect also our network interface, both the software and the hardware. For example, our router, switch, services, and also the port number which is running on the hardware. All the email must be encrypted, and also we must use the encrypting network traffic, for example the VPN, and to ensure that our environment is totally protected, we can implement the firewall to segregate our network from the outside world. Next level of security is under the application security, where we can control the services, or we can hardening the coding that we use to create the application. For example, software architecture, better to use the object-oriented approach. For example, in Java programming, best practice before we can create an object, first we must create the class. So if there is any packet sniffing activity, the sniffer only can capture the class content. They cannot read the object content because our object is included inside the class. Another things to control the application security is by implement the application permission. For example, certain department is allowed to access only to certain application. And then we can implement an input validation to secure the connectivity to the application. For example, the user must provide their email address, or they must fill in the matric number or the IC number. And then remember to apply the latest patch and update to the hardware. Next level of security is the file security permission, where, for example, in the Linux programming, we have a certain coding to ensure different type of security permission. The first one, the read. The second one is to write permission. And the last one is to execute permission. The last security level is the user security, which is the user security involves the identification of a system user and consideration of the user-related security issue, regardless of other security precautions and features. Security ultimately depends on the system user and their habits, practice, and willingness to support the security goals. Example of practice that user can do is to implement the password policy, which is the password policy should require the minimum length, complexity, and the limitation of invalid login attempt. And also, user need to be aware of any social engineering attack, for example, scammer activity, phishing, and etc. For the procedural security, operational security is the best practice. For example, don't leave any important document on the table, or write down any important password and leave it on the table. Do not delete or throw away the confidential document to the dustbin because there is a possibility for dumpster diving activity where these people they can retrieve the information from the dustbin. If you are needed to delete the file, always use the paper shredder. Under backup and disaster recovery, we have four types of backup. The first one is full backup, where we need to backup all the file. The second one is differential backup, which is only backup the file that are new or changed since the last full backup. And the third type of backup is the incremental backup, which the backup only backup the file that are new or changed since the last kind of backup of any kind. And the last one is continuous backup, which is also known as the real-time backup. So this is a streaming method that record all the system activity in real time. System obsolescence. At some point, every system become obsolete, which means that the system operation and the support will continue until a replacement system is installed, which is a new version. Chapter summary. System support and security cover the entire period from the implementation of the information system until the system is no longer used. A system analyst's primary involvement with an operational system is to manage and solve the user support requests. System analysts need the same talent and ability for maintenance work as they use when developing a new system. Security is a vital part of every computer system. End of slide. Thank you.